Imagine this. What if the most sophisticated innovation system isn't in AI, but is in nature, and it's 3.8 billion years of R&D and successful adaptation? What I propose, seeing nature as our greatest futurist. And after over a decade of advising leading brands and institutions in fashion and the creative fields, I've realized that learning from nature creates success and fuels limitless innovation. Future Wild, when nature becomes a futurist, isn't a learning journey about changing the fashion and creative industry system as a whole. It's about focusing specifically on the creative and fashion professionals working in future foresight or with it as a key tool, as they are key stakeholders in our futures, with tremendous influence on how we decide to design, consume, adopt new cultural codes, and hospice old systems. I'm Geraldine Wharry. I'm a fashion futurist and regenerative futures architect. I advise across fashion, tech, design, culture, and innovation on life-centered societal and business transformation. I also founded the Trendettily School and Community in 2019. I write, speak, and lecture at universities. And so why is foresight key? The United Nations highlights future foresight as one of this century's 5 key capabilities: the ability to discern trends, anticipate shifts, and respond proactively. And futurists on a big picture level are cultural innovation and systems architects. And our soft science on a practical level leads to future-facing strategies, services, products, all the way to policies. And we're also time travelers, advising on what could happen, helping determine what we should do about it now. But the problem with fashion and the creative industry is its approach to futures has led to an unhealthy obsession with the new, overconsumption, confusing trend virality with trend validity. And this key tension is one of the things that led me to the Biomimicry Educator Program after years of trying to solve this problem in different ways. And in the scoping phase of our 6-month program, through many interviews and conversations, I realized the problem. My target learners often feel powerless in implementing the positive future trends and systemic shifts they advise. There's a big desire to change this, but an equally big knowledge gap. And in the organogram, I mapped out the broken links, power resistance, and silos, and it's clear the operating system of foresight is malfunctioning. So I realized my challenge was to create an educational program and ecosystem that empowers my learners to be change architects with nature as their mentor, so they can rewire how creative and fashion industries think about and create their futures, as well as implement regenerative innovation. So why biomimicry applied to future foresight? Well, it's a formidable solution for solving complex problems and systems thinking, and it's key to regenerative foresight, a life-centered approach that is gaining traction alongside regenerative design and a regenerative economy. Over the course of our 6-month program, including the all-important 2-month discovery phase, I built a whole ecosystem of research and study to understand my learner and the transformation I wanted them to experience, from mapping leverage points, obstacles, and opportunities to prototyping the Future Wild learning journey in 8 mindful stages. Its models, what it taught, also a key, what students feel, learn, and do, all the way to testing, interviews, learning, teaching theories, and embodied learning. And I'm happy to walk you through this in more detail. Just email me at hello@geraldineworry.com. So we're going to focus here on 2 key models amongst the ecosystem that I created for Future Wild. The Regenerative Futures Ikigai represents the journey itself in 8 mindful phases. Orientation and vision is about creating our why. Then we move to leadership and interdependence, which is about understanding our connection to nature and what regenerative leadership means. Explore and assess is really the what is right now, understanding the current system and its roots. And reconnect is the what could be in the future, reframing our stakeholders and understanding systems redesign. Ethos is about understanding the foundations of biomimicry with its life's principles model and nature as measure frameworks. And emulate is then moving to foresight tools and how they're adapted to biomimicry, especially four key tools I've created. Implement is then about taking action on everything we've learned and tracking progress and iterating in our workplace or with our clients. And adapt and evolve is about nurturing this change over time, creating feedback and a collective practice. And the Clover self-growth is really a self-assessment and reflection tool for the learner to use at every phase, using the 3 seeds of biomimicry plus my addition, which is the lucky 4th leaf called feel, which is important to my creative streak in my learner, which is around personal growth and reflecting on your own creativity and resilience along the way. And Future Wild is a futuring ecology of resources because my learners are creative thinkers. They like to learn in different ways, different modalities, and they're also extremely time limited. And I needed modular touch points, and modularity is really a key part of a biomimicry approach, as I learned. So I can pull from this 8-stage learning journey, concepts, activities, or frameworks as needed, because the transformation matters more than the delivery format. And it's about a nature-guided future foresight system, learning to implement true change, regenerative futures architect identity building, and nurturing collective practice with feedback and iteration. So this phase is out over time, with the first phase with a free interactive whiteboard resource that I'll publish, introducing the models and frameworks and giving users immediate materials that they can test and provide feedback and communicate on this interactive tool that I've created. And the next phase will be embedding these teachings in my existing decade-old Future Dispatch newsletter. And also I'm hoping to launch a podcast series on this topic. And the last phase will be creating an online version of the core of this learning journey on Circle, which I already use for Trend Atelier. But I really, really want to also focus on in-person experiences for the support I think my learners need, and also the collective practice that is equal to none when you do it in person together. So also I want to sincerely thank everyone who gave me invaluable feedback on this journey. Some of you are here today. This is just a selection of my user tester feedback. It validated both the need and the approach, the systemic change potential. My user testers and my interviewees pointed me towards what works, what I can solidify, how to grow value around a number of key points. Some of them here, leadership and mindset shifts. I got some really interesting feedback on speaking the language of business value and ROI around this journey. Seeing it as really planting seeds. Someone even used the word Trojan horse. And the key is also supporting tracking and iteration. So I think what's next now for Future Wild is creating strategic partnerships and relationships, and also helping learners adapt this to their own context and tools. Again, thinking of modularity, and perhaps even for those who run their own workshops, using those tools in their own learning experiences that they create. So finally, I want to end by expressing all of my gratitude to Rebecca and Jess, my mentors. The learning journey was transformational, and even witnessing how you teach was a masterclass in itself. And also, of course, thank you to the Quetzal cohort. I loved all of our sessions, and my biomimicry co-pilot, Leanne Fernandez. In fashion and the creative fields, we are searching for new ideals, and Future Wild requires going against the current status quo. And it's wild, but it also absolutely isn't, because we are nature. And to quote Janine Benyus, we can learn to come home to this planet. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Geraldine. What a special way to end your presentation. Thank you so much.